Good morning, Secret Beachcombers. It is time for our Typhoon, our guest webinar of the month of April. It is Nadene, the one, the only, my partner, Nadene. All about you today. Yay. Good morning, Nadene. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you, Jason?
Usually I'd say dandy, but I leave for Atlanta tomorrow and I have to give a 4-hour class and I'm not ready.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, I haven't packed a damn thing yet. No clothes, no nothing, but I'm getting there. Anybody watching right now? Is anyone in the Atlanta area coming up for either the classes or the Tiki Bar hangouts? I will put a post in the Secret Beach later. I don't know if any of my out with me or if anyone lives in Atlanta. So, Anna Hill. Anna Hill's going to be hanging out, so we know Anna, but so let me know if you want to hang out at all or take a class. Let me know. But let's get to the reason we are here today. We are here today to talk about well-worn shoes.
No.
Just kidding. No. That's another webinar.
That's a whole other webinar.
That is a late night webinar. Hey, speaking of, quick little side note. I've been thinking about teaching the adult section, and that would definitely have to be a late nighter, and probably would be one where or the spouse, and it'd be one that I know some people might not tune into. That's absolutely fine. But there is money to be made. We just found a little treasure trove of adult material for Nadene to actually source and make money on in Philly. True. So if you look, it is there. And I just sold a gay publication that I paid $14 for $85. So there's money to be made if you look for the right stuff. So I think we're going to do that coming up, but you'll have plenty of warning. There won't be a surprise. You'll be like, oh, my eyes. I'll stay fully clothed, so don't worry about that.
Oh, thank God.
All right, so let's get on to it today. This is why we are all here. We are here to talk women's shoes with Nadene.
Yes, Yay!
Are these all your own personal shoes in this picture, Nadene?
Oh, yeah. I took a pile and had it professionally photographed and stood behind it. Yeah. Yes, of course.
Well, you did a good job. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. So
I'll give you the floor first if you want to just, give a little intro to what we're going to be talking about, why you're the one that is giving this speech, and then we'll get into your presentation.
Well, I love women's shoes. Let me tell you, I love selling them. I love thrifting them. They're my favorite thing to source because I don't know. I always go to the shoe section first. They're easy to ship. They're easy to list. They're just, and there's so much money to be made in them. Plus, I'm a girly girl and I have my own, probably over 100 pairs of shoes myself. So, I love shoes and it's so great because I can buy all different sizes, all different styles, and they all sell. Everything sells because they're from size 5 all the way up to size 12, and I'll talk a little bit about the sizing and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. So if you guys are not sourcing and selling shoes, I hope that you all will be after this. All right.
So of I lost my train of thought. Of the 100 pair, how many do you think are thrifted?
Oh, probably easily 99.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm like 99.99% of my wardrobe is thrifted. Yeah.
And we're about to learn all about good, nice, higher end women's shoes that sell used from $40 to $200. Yet, let's see the pair of shoes Nadene is wearing today.
Oh gosh, yeah, he called me out on this as I came down the steps.
We're about to get $200 used shoes, and Nadene has on.
And I am wearing
$3 flip flops.
99, yeah, $3 flip flops from Target today. Yes, that's my. Well, they're comfortable. Awesome. I know. Yeah, that is kind of funny. He did point out the irony in that.
Well, when she ran up the stairs, and when she came back down, I could hear the flop.
Yes. Oh.
All right, let's get to the presentation, and you are.
Okay, so one thing that you guys should all learn is the style name of your shoes. This is very important, not only in the item specifics, but you need this in your keywords. Now, you always want to put boot or shoe because people do search for you know, Prada shoes or, you know, but you want the style because people search by style. If they're looking for a wedge or an espadrille or a Dorsey pump or a stiletto, they're going to search by the style. So you have to learn your styles. And this is not all the styles of shoes, obviously. There's hundreds and hundreds, but if you go to Pinterest and just type in visual shoe style dictionary or something along those lines, there are hundreds of these types of visual shoe guides, or you can Google it and find one. So if you have a style and you're not sure what it is, it's very easy to find, but learn that and definitely put it in your keywords, put it in your description, know what your shoe styles are. So. Right, do
they still sell? Do you still find? And I'm only asking this now because I'm looking at the wedge sneaker. Mm-hmm. Do you still find and or sell the platform sneakers like my Spice Girls used to wear?
Oh, absolutely. They're called creepers. Also, they're also commonly called. And there's a brand that I'll talk about that's called TUK or Tuck that that commonly does that. They're very they're still sought out. Right. They're still bought. So yeah.
See, and that's how I correlate what my knowledge of women's shoes is to what my Spice Girls wear.
Yeah, so they are also called creepers.
Yes, I am a big girl. All right.
All right, so we're going to go through some. Now, it was very hard, let me tell you, to narrow a bolo list down to 30. I had over 100 first, and I kind of whittled it down to what not only what's the most. I tried to leave out like the very common ones, but some of the definite bread and butter bolos, but also some that might not be on your radar. Now there are so many more brands, and at the end of this webinar, I'm going to show you some samples of some other brands and what else to look for to know if a pair of shoes is something that you want to buy. But we're going to start with aerosols. So Jason's going to click on each link just to show you. Now these are not all my solds. The ones with asterisks, I'll show you which ones are my solds. But just to get an idea, aerosols is a brand that okay, there we go. It's on the big screen. So yeah, aerosols is a comfort brand, and it's kind of a bread and butter brand. You see that this one sold for, I think, $38.88, and that's about the going rate, like $30 to $40 for those. If they're not in as good shape, maybe $25 to $30, but it's a constant seller. It's a comfort brand, and it's something that you know, is well known, and it's just like one of those great bread and butter brands, meaning it's something that always will sell for you. So
all right, look for that brand. If these were yours, would you have cleaned off all this extra shit?
I would have, definitely. This was my listing. Yeah, this is something that's a good point. Yeah, and that's so easy to get off, and I'm going to talk about cleaning, and I will explain that. Yeah, that was so simple to get off. I would never have left.
You know, you got to think too. Unless you get into the big sizes, this is you're selling to a woman, and just like when I started selling bras, I realized really quick how to make them not look sad and deflated. And so, you know, women want to feel pretty, they want to look pretty, and when they're shopping, like myself, because I'm a big girl, I shop with my eyes, and so do a lot of women. So to have all this sticker residue and not even have the forethought to clean it is really, really nutty. All right. Mm-hmm. So the next one on your list.
It's Badgley Mishka, and I actually have a pair of Badgley Mishkas here in my hand, and I found these. Now this brand is probably...
Bring them back. I haven't clicked on it.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Probably not a brand that's on your radar. Now, at my Goodwill, they put on the display racks, they put mostly all of the, like, you know, Shoe Dazzle, cheap, like Payless kind of brands, like nothing exciting. And I knew exactly what these were. These were on the bottom. These were just kind of sticking out. I saw them and I was like, ooh, I need those. So, you know, always look everywhere in the stores, because you never know what you're going to find. So this is this is a sold pair, and all of the listings, by the way, that I pulled up are about average selling prices. Some of them are on the high end, but you can get the high end prices for your shoes if you clean them well and present them well. And they're all used, sold. None of these are new, so none of the ones. So this is a pair, and you can see my pair here also has that plate on the bottom. Which is that's one way to tell that they're authentic. They sold for $91.99, and that's about, these will probably, I need to clean these up a little more, but these will probably sell for about $80 easily, because they're 9, and so yeah. And I paid $4.99 for them, so So that's Badgley Mishka. Always look for that brand. And most of them are fancier. They're like kind of dressy, something like you'd wear to a wedding. Balenciaga, that's another very, very, now this is one of those top brands. And I have never found a pair of Balenciagas out in the wild. I probably will eventually one day. But so this isn't one that you're going to commonly find. But if you find them, and I'll show you what to look for, you know, to find out if something's real, if I would definitely pick those up, because these are all day. You can sell these for over $100 used. So.
Is that your phone I hear dinging?
Yeah, I just turned off the sound. I apologize. So
now on these bottoms, whoa.
Now here's something I will say. Now these are leather soles, leather outsoles. I will say they're meant to look good. They're never going to look good. The first time you wear leather outsoles, they're going to be scuffed. But these have dirt on them. And this person should have definitely, for a $145 pair of shoes, that could have easily been cleaned off. So that's something I would have definitely done. So this is good that we were pulling up these listings, because I can also say what not to do on some of these. Yeah. So that would have.
These 4 pictures are fine. I'm like, oh, cute, nice. Whoa,
and then the bottoms, yeah, exactly. That's a turn off. So yeah, and people that buy high-end shoes with leather outsoles know that they're gonna look wear, you know, they're gonna have wear, but those just have crud on them. So yeah, that could have been cleaned.
Oh, real quick, and I forgot to mention, like I always do, I'm very sorry for that. Yes, Debbie, who just raised her hand, said hi in the chat, is compiling all the questions for Nadene for after we're done with the presentation. So feel free to throw them out as you think of them. Debbie's got them in order for me, and we will get to them all at the end. All right, so your next one is
Birkenstock. There, and there's a few offshoot brands of Birkenstocks too. There's like Birkies, and they're just the forever hippie comfy shoe that there'll always be a good seller. And even in the footbeds, now those footbeds are always pretty cruddy, you know, after they've been worn, and there is a way to clean them with vinegar, but even with the wear on those, they always sell. So unless they're really beat, I always grab those too. And that's a common, you know, this is a cool style. So and these are Birkies, actually. So those sold for $64.99. I would say the average pair goes from like 40 to 50. So that's a good solid.
I think they're using a shower liner for the backdrop.
It does look that way. Yes. Do not do that either.
Busted. Busted. Uggs keep me warm. Busted.
So the next brand is Born. And I have a pair of Borns right here, actually. These are a comfort brand. These are suede. Now I have to do some cleaning on the footbed here because there was a sticker, so I need to clean that off. But these are in really good shape, and it's a great solid comfort brand that always sells. So if you find Borns, definitely pick them up. And what are the ones that the listing I have? Oh, this is my listing. So if you want to critique it, this is my listing. So I sold these boots for $39.99. They did have a significant suede wear and scuffs that it was staining that unfortunately would not completely clean off. And so I disclosed that, and I was able to still sell. Now they have some crud in them that I probably should have gotten out of there, but I sold them as is for $39.99. I didn't do a lot of cleaning on them because they were pretty beat. So that was a pretty good. So the next one is Bruno Magli. Now Bruno Magli is a great brand, and they the vintage ones used to be made for like Saks Fifth Avenue. I have an example that I'll show you guys later. And it's still a great high-end selling brand. The Brunos are Bruno Magli it's a great, if they're made well, they always have leather outsoles, and they'll always sell every day for between, depending on your on the style and the wear on them, between $40 and $100 or so. Yeah. So, and I have 2 pairs of those to last right now. So the next one is Chi Mihara. And I just recently found a pair of Chi Miharas, which I have in my pile somewhere here, so I'll show them to you later. And when I got all excited and giddy when I found them, I was with Jason. Do you remember that when I found them, Jason? I was like, oh, look what I found. All right, well, see, wasn't exciting to you. But they will, and mine are flats. Mine aren't heels like this. They're suede. I can clean up the suede on mine. But they are... they always sell for, you know, between, depending upon your style again and your shape, I would say between $50 and $200. So nice. Always, so if you see Chi Miharas, grab those. Yes. And the next one is, yeah, so yeah, and mine are a little different. Mine don't have the stars and all in them, but yeah, they're okay, and this is my listing, and I know, excuse my photo, this was one that I took a long time ago, but this is an old listing. I know, it's a little yellow here, I didn't take, but these are Christian LaCroix, and if you find that brand, always pick them up. I sold LaCroix. I sold these for $50, and I think I paid like $3 for them, so if you ever find this brand, definitely grab it. They'll sell for $50 all day long, even, and these had some condition issues, and they were a smaller size, so. And it's a French brand, obviously. So the next one is Clark's, and these are Clark's Indigos. I have some Clark's to show you in my pile too. Now Clark's is another of those comfort brands along the same lines as Aerosols or Soft or Born. It's in that same kind of genre, the same, and they're another bread and butter brand that will sell any style all day. The Indigo line is kind of the cuter line. They're kind of not, they don't look so comfort brand, they look more stylish and fun, but they sell very well. They will always sell. So if you find Clark's, and they're very common in the thrifts, very easy to find. So this one sold for $69.99. I sell most of my Clark's between $30 and $50, so but the Indigos sometimes sell a little better. I have a pair somewhere. Oh, actually, I have them right here. So if you want to zoom in on me on the camera here, you can see that this pair is very stylish, very cute, and see, they have like those cute little flowers on them and all. So this is the Indigo line. I sold this price sticker. I paid looks like $4.99 for these. So these should go probably in the $50 range. So, and Cole Haan, always pick up Cole Haan. And then Cole Haan also, they missed the word Nike in their listing. These are Nike. No, Cole Haan there's a regular Cole Haan, and then there's Cole Haan Nike Air. Nike Air Cole Haan is no longer made, and they're very sought out. They have like the Nike Air dynamics, you know, inside of the insole, and they're very comfortable. So women do look for those. So, and yeah, those see the Nike Air on the bottom. So they missed out on the word Nike, which was a big, but anyway, they still sold them for $41.95. I think they might have been able to get a little more for those actually. But if you have regular Cole Haans, they sell equally as well. The Nike Air though, especially if they're more stylish, you can sell those up from, usually an average selling price would be about $50 on those. So
the one thing I'll say about these pictures is, and I just bought some feet for my shoes and boots. You know, I like that they're using this to keep the shape, but if you're going to set your shoes up where the thing they're using to keep the shape interrupts the look
yeah,
of
I agree.
You got to make sure you're angling it so it doesn't, you know,
mm-hmm.
your tool doesn't compete with your product. There we go.
Right, I agree.
All right, what do we got next here?
All right. So I see some things popping up in the chat, some questions that I will be addressing in the presentation. So Converse is another brand. Now Converse is now sold at Target. There's old school Converses, which, you know, from the 80s, 90s, which it breaks my heart. I donated some like back in the 90s that I keep thinking about. I can't get out of my head. They were just the coolest. They had some cool prints and designs on them. They would have sold easily in the hundreds now. And I just donated them as I was cleaning my closet out like in the mid 90s. Still think about those. However, there's some money to be made in Converse, especially in the rare ones like this. Now, this was a pair that for my favorite band, ACDC.
Yeah, when I was setting this all up, that made me laugh because Nadene is like the only person in the world ever that ACDC.
I hate ACDC, yes. No offense to all of you ACDC fans. But anyway, so this was a limited edition, and Converse does put out some limited editions. So they're the ones that you really want to look for. But pretty much any Converse that's in good condition will sell. And the great thing about Converse is they are one of the brands that you can just stick in the washing machine and wash, and they will come out beautiful. And that's later in my presentation in the cleaning section. So you'll, I will explain that a little more. So the next one is, where are we? Converse Dansko. So Dansko is another one of those comfort brands. This is my listing. Now these I got for 50 cents. I paid 50 cents for these. They were in beat shape. They had some stains and marks and wear that would never come out. And I disclosed all of that in the listing, and I still sold them for $24.95 plus shipping. I did clean up the outsoles. They were pretty nasty, but I cleaned the best I could on the uppers and just listed them and disclosed them. So if you can find these for 50 cents like that, or even, yeah, even, I mean, I would have even paid like $5 for these and flipped them for that price. So it was definitely worth it. But if you find them in good condition, I have sold them for upwards of near $100. A lot of medical workers, nurses will wear these in the hospital. So, and also cooks and people that are standing on their feet a lot in those kind of professions, they buy these. So again, you know, this could have gone to somebody that works in a restaurant and didn't care that they had stains all over, because they're going to get more stains on them. So yeah, Dansko is definitely one of those brands to always look for, and they're pretty common. They're pretty easy to find in the thrifts. And the next brand is Donald J. Pliner. And this is my listing, and I sold these for $99.99. And yeah, this brand always buy. Now they always say made in the mountains of Italy. That sounds really dramatic, but they always say that on them. And you can tell they're just really high quality. It says couture on them. They're just really well-made shoes. And these were a larger size. I can't see my listing. I think they were like a 10. If I remember right, but that also helped sell 11. Okay, that's even better. So that also helps sell them, like if you have the larger sizes. But I've sold smaller size Donald J. Pliners. I've sold, and even in worse condition, I've sold them for about $50. And these were in pretty good condition, and I still sold them for $100. You know, I sold them for $100 easily. That was just an easy sale. So, and I think I paid like $8 for them. So yeah, so always pick up that brand. Another brand is Doc Martens. We all know that brand. And again, I got rid of some Doc Martens back in the day that looked like that I could just, yeah. But the floral ones and the printed ones always sell. This is the style. This is the women's style that always sells really well. So if you ever find these high top florals, grab them, because you can easily sell them. These are used for $400 easily. Now, most of the Doc Martens, I sold a pair of Mary Jane Doc Martens not too long ago for, I think, about $80. Most of them will go used, like the normal ones, between $50 and $100. But if you find these are the holy grail. So never.
Even no, Stacy has a pair of these exact ones in her closet.
Oh, well, you might be raiding her closet, because there's $400.
Time to sell.
There's $400 sitting there. But she also, well, these are US 7. These are a smaller size. I was going to say the smaller sizes don't always do as well, but okay. So Frye is another brand, Frye. And I know in a haul I've shown Frye boots. I have a pair listed right now, and they will easily, mine have a lot of condition issues. They'll still easily sell for $100. These sold for $298. Again, these are all used listings. I don't know what they have in their backdrop there, but so always buy Frye. And the symbol, it looks like they have a very distinct logo. I don't know if you can see the logo on there. Yeah, it looks like yeah, there it is. It's like a V kind of, yeah, there it is. So that's what their logo looks like. So sometimes when I found the Frye boots in my Goodwill, somebody had hidden them underneath the women's dresses, and I saw a little tiny piece of the boot sticking out, and all I could see was the embossed logo. That was it. I didn't, and I knew that logo, and I grabbed those boots. So, and let's see what else. So GH Bass, or they're another brand that always sells solidly. Now the vintage ones sell very well. Like back in the 80s, they were kind of trendy. They're kind of that style, you know, the 80s shoes are coming back. So that style, they're very preppy and all. They're coming back now. They also make some cool designer ones that don't look like this. There's a designer that has a whole line of these that are very much not like this. They kind of have floral prints and loud prints, and I'll show you an example of those. But for the most part, they're very preppy, very conservative. This is what they look like, and they're a solid seller. They still sell very well, and usually you're looking at an average price of about $40. And this is a style called Weejuns.
Weejuns?
Yes, that's one of their popular styles. And then this is one of my listings that I sold. These are Keen boots, Keen. Keen also makes, they also make comfort shoes, kind of like sneaker looking comfort shoes that you would go, and you know, hiking shoes and stuff like that. So these are boots, winter boots. These sold, and these were also not in perfect condition. The inside, the lining had some wear. There was some creasing on the uppers and whatnot, but they still sold for $60 easily. So and I think I paid like $8 for those. So yeah, so that's a very popular brand that they always do well. So if you find Keens, pick them up always. And Manolo Blahnik, you've probably all heard of that brand. That's one of the high-end brands, along with Gucci and Prada and all of those. But if you ever pick those, if you ever find them, just, you know, you can tell by the quality that they're real. If you have any questions, if they're in the case, you know, at your Goodwill, and they're like asking, you know, $30 or something, and you're not sure if they're real, look at the stitching. Look at I'll show you. I'm going to show you some high-end shoes that I have here, and I'll show you how to know that they're real. But they always say handmade in Italy, like that. They're always going to have those soft leather soles. And if you have any questions, you know, about the authenticity, you can always pop it in the thrifting board, or send me a message. But these sold for $449. They said that they were returned from Nordstrom, so they're still used. But most of them now, I would say in worse condition, you'll still get, you know, an average selling price of about $200 on these shoes. But they are rare in the wild. They're not something that you're going to come across very often. Morel is another brand, and they also make, like the Keens, they also make kind of those comfort sort of walking / sport hiking shoes, that kind of thing. But they also make boots, and these boots sold for $84.95. I've sold Morel shoes for around $40 to $50. So, and the boots do better. And they're always made for sport and for, you know, for walking and that kind of thing. So, and then we have, and I always butcher, I'm going to butcher this, Mimi or Mui, I don't know. There's two pronunciations. So, but this is a line of Prada. It's a lesser line of Prada. Now they could have done better on their keywords there, but it's like it's a lower, yeah, it's a lower end of Prada, but it is a Prada brand. So if you ever see that, grab them. And no matter what condition, I found them in the bins with broken straps and everything. They'll still sell. So these sold for $300. These were in pretty good condition. I would say an average selling price is like $80 to $100 for like the shoes that are not in such great condition, but still you can easily make $100 on these all day long. So, and
yeah, I just realized I was on the shoe, so I came back to the
oh
shoe.
No, that's okay.
On to the next one.
The next one is Pedro Garcia. Now they're usually very flat. It's a Spanish brand. They're usually very, very flat, very kind of almost like the Birkenstock style of shoes, but even flatter. They're made to fit your footbed, you know, like they're comfort shoes like that. But they always are. I don't think I've ever seen a Pedro Garcia with like a heel. And they always have that big text on the bottom that says Pedro Garcia. That mine had the same thing. Mine were beat up. The ones that I sold a while ago. I mean, they were beat. They were absolutely like the bottom. The outsoles had a lot of wear. There was a point where, you know, I just had to stop cleaning them, and I just listed them, and I still sold them for $50. So these, you know, in good condition, $225, very reasonable. Yeah. And Emilio Pucci. Now, I have a pair of Puccis here that I will show you in my high-end section. Now, Emilio Pucci was a designer that lived until I think he passed away in the 90s, if I'm not correct. But his daughter took over the business, and now they have other designers that work for Pucci. But he did these they're very easy to spot, like these kind of 60s swirly, very colorful designs, and that's what to look for. I found a cosmetic bag in that was really a purse that sold for about $100, and I knew right away that print, like you just can tell. So I have a pair of Pucci's here that have that kind of print, very characteristic, very, very high end. Now these sold for $79. I think they could have gotten more for those actually, but the ones that I have some condition issues, and mine will probably sell for about $80 to $90. Ferragamo, Salvatore Ferragamo, they're still made today. The vintage ones are very popular. The only thing with the vintage ones is that a lot of them that you find are narrow or extra narrow, and those are very slow sellers, especially because vintage shoes are already made smaller and narrower. So women's feet today tend to be larger and not so narrow, so you really have to wait for that buyer to come along. But I have found them that are, you know, some that aren't narrow. I don't usually find the vintage ones in larger sizes. These are vintage. That's what the vintage logo looks like, and those were made for Saks Fifth Avenue. And some of them you'll see the Saks Fifth Avenue script inside of them. And the modern ones tend to sell for more money. But, you know, the average price of the vintage ones is about $40 to $50. And you can sell the newer styles for upwards of $100. So. And Sam Edelman, I always look for Sam Edelman. It's a great brand. And I do find these a lot at thrifts, actually. So they make all kinds of styles of shoes, from ballet flats to boots to espadrilles. They make, you know, all kinds of styles. And I've found quite a few Sam Edelmans over the years, and I always sell them for over $50. So these boots, they went for $120, and you can see that they have some condition issues, some water. It looks like there's some water.
I was going to say, this is a really bad listing.
That's a horrible. Yeah.
Well, here,
and
this is obviously
so
stolen
it looks like
from
it looks like they used the stock photo.
Picture.
Do not do that. It looks.
And then these pictures are so small, I can't even enlarge them.
Yep. So that's a really bad listing, and they
don't do that.
Yeah. And they sold them for $120, but I would wonder if the buyer would not have seen the watermark stains on those and been upset. So yeah, don't do that. Don't use a stock photo on used shoes. Use your, So this is my listing that I sold. This brand is called Soft, and it is another kind of two F's in the word soft. Yes, SOFFT, and it's another comfort brand, and kind of like Bourne and Clark's and aerosols, but they make some cuter styles like this one. Some of them are more conventional comfort looking shoes, but they do make some really cute ones. I have a pair here that I'll show you guys that are size 12 that I know are going to really sell well. And these were in great condition, and they sold for $50, and I think I paid like $3.99 for them. So, and that's an easy flip on these. And they usually average selling price is about $40 to $50 on these. So. And the next one is Stuart Weitzman. Now, some of the vintage Stuart Weitzmans, like the 80s styles, are the style is it's not so popular right now. It's got that block heel. I don't know how to explain it. I don't have a sample here, but some of those I stay away from just because the style is outdated, and not outdated in a trendy way. So, but some of the vintage Stuart Weitzmans still do sell well, and the newer ones always sell very well. Now, these are these are some boots. The boots obviously are going to sell for more, and yes, they would be about that price, $6.98 new. Your resale value is going to be about what they sold for. On the shoes, I would say probably an average selling price of about $50. If you have something in really good shape, that's a newer style, maybe around $100. So.
And these, their pictures are not good.
No, I agree. Yes, I would definitely.
Changing the lighting, so
the color looks different on all of the. Yep. So
they're changing the plane of light, so the color looks different. I wasn't even sure what was going on here. I thought these were jeans with.
Yeah, that's crazy. But they sold them for $150.
Yeah, well, true. But make sure your pictures are clear with the right amount of light on them.
Yeah, so this is a good learning experience with the listings too. So, okay, Tory Burch. Now, Tory Burch is a brand that's faked, but you can always tell the fakes very easily. They have that very distinctive logo. It's kind of like a cross with some little extra doodads going on. That's Tory Burch. I just found a fake Tory Burch handbag in my Goodwill yesterday. It was just that logo plated on, and then you could tell the leather wasn't in good quality. The inside of it didn't have Tory Burch, so it should have Tory Burch embossed. It should have the logo on the bottom. It should have you can tell the quality, and they should have cleaned those up better too. They could have definitely done better with those. So I have a pair of Tory Burch sandals that I found in the Goodwill, in a big bin in the Goodwill, and they were like $3.99 because they didn't know what they were, and they're size 11s, and they're gonna do great. So this is TUK, and this brand this is the brand that I was talking about with the wedge sneakers. They're called Creepers. They make a lot of creeper sneakers. They're very popular, and they have a lot of really cutesy kind of emo, hipster kind of shoes, and like these cat shoes. If you found these would do great. I have found some other tuck shoes that were really cute. I actually kept a pair for myself that have like little skulls on them and all. They're just adorable, and they sold for $46. This is one of their anarchic this is one of their sub brands, but same thing, they're tuck. So this sold for $46.95, and I would say that solid you can sell them for $40, $50, $60 every day. So
this is one of the few brands of women's shoes I have sold.
Oh wow.
Because they catch my eye. They're easy to catch.
They're very eye-catching. So Via Spiga, very bread and butter high-end brand. Now I have vintage Via Spigas that I've sold for around $40 with condition issues. They do better. Sometimes they do better. This style is kind of like it's not that exciting, and their pictures are very inconsistent there.
Again, they stole.
It looks like they used. It looks like they used.
Yes, because this is not the same shoe. I mean, I think
definitely
it is,
not. So
am I getting this color, or am I getting this color?
So that's very misleading. Do not do that. Actually, go back to the first. I guess it is the same style, but that heel looks like it's chunkier than the heel that they actually.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, but their lighting sucks.
It's horrible.
If the customer's expecting this, they're not going to be happy. I'm really surprised they're top sellers too.
Mm-hmm. Do not do that. But yeah, Via Spigas, that's about an average selling price, $50. So, and
they have not. Oh, they do have the picture of the bottom. I'm like, if they don't show the bottom, you don't know what you're getting. All right, last on the list is.
Vivienne Westwood. Now I found a Vivienne Westwood recently, and they are really cool. Now they really missed out on their keywords in this listing. They should have had a lot more keywords. Anglomania is one of the words that they should have had in there, because that's
written in the shoe.
Yeah, it is. They should have had that. Melissa's aside, but I have a pair like this. They're actually rubber. They're all rubber. Nothing's leather on them. And my pair I have listed for. I think I have mine listed for like $89.99. Vivienne Westwood is a very trendy designer, kind of like Betsy Johnson. Her stuff reminds me a lot of Betsy Johnson. It's very fun, a lot of it's kind of colorful and cute and quirky, and she's very high end. Always look for Vivienne Westwood.
But then the two tips I would say here, look, they're selling the box and the little dust cover bag. Mm-hmm. That's not in the title. And use what you should. Why not show them so you could read them? way
Yeah,
up.
they really missed out. They didn't put style in their keyword. Well, they put
Yeah.
platform, but they didn't. I mean, even the word shoes isn't in there. I mean, it's
So,
made in Brazil. That's a perk, you know. That if you
yeah.
have, they missed so much keyword space there. So.
All right, that's the whole presentation. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Yeah, right. So now we're going to continue to let's say what to look for and buy. Wow, your presentation, your spacing got messed up. See how the word craftsmanship is under the picture?
I see it.
Yeah, it wasn't like that in mine. Okay, so you're looking for leather outsoles. Now this word vero curio that means genuine leather in Italian, and that will always be embossed or stamped like that, and never, if you see it that it's just kind of on the surface, like, you know, just kind of you know, like a tattoo, a temporary tattoo or a sticker would be, then they're not real. They're not good quality. That's one way to spot fakes. So any high-end shoes will always have that on them, and they'll always say made in Italy, made in Brazil, made in Spain. If you see made in China, then no, that's not. They're probably not real. So you can just feel the quality and the craftsmanship, and also look for interesting designs and styles, like we talked about those tuck shoes. Look for vintage, and look for interesting and exciting vintage that aren't in super narrow sizes, that are in good condition, because there's a big following for vintage shoes. General good shape. You don't want the heels falling apart or cracking. You don't want the outsoles to be falling apart. You don't want the look for, you know, things like dry rot and whatnot. And larger sizes and wide widths always sell better. Like I said, I have a pair of size 12s here. You saw that pair of 11 Donald J. Pleiners that I sold. Larger sizes are in demand because there's not as much of a variety, and so obviously, you know, those do sell a little better. But I've sold, you know, I have buyers that, you know, I've sold size 5.5, and there's buyers in every size, but generally larger sizes and wide widths do better. And then the next slide is also what to look for. And oh, Jason, you didn't notice this, huh? So
I did, but I didn't want you to work any longer on it. So
I could have fixed that so easily.
Just go ahead.
Oh God. So in mine, since I'm a graphic designer, it was not the text was not all under the picture.
It was a conversion from PowerPoint to an Apple computer. So do not hold me responsible for spacing.
I could kill you for letting this go out like
Come on,
this.
let's go.
All right. Vegan and specialty. So I have been vegan for a long time, and I know that vegan buyers do look for vegan shoes. So if you have a pair of vegan shoes that you know that there's no leather on, there's a little guide for some of the sneakers. Definitely put vegan in your title. And by specialty, I mean, like the dance goes that you know, they make some that are specifically more for nurses. There's, you know, some different shoes like that are geared towards you know, comfort and different professions and whatnot. So the next one is definitely go to a high-end department store. I say this with fabrics, I say this with clothing, I say go to Nordstrom and go and look at they have some very high-end brands in there. Go to the women's shoe section and just pick up the shoe, feel it, look at it, you know, get an idea of what the quality feels like, what the brands look like, what high end feels like. That's the best place to educate yourself, is you know, in a store like that. Comfort shoes are something else to look for. Comfort shoes, like we talked about. Use your thrifting gut, and if when in doubt, just look up the listings in the store, and you know, go to the thrifting board if you absolutely need to, and look for sales, especially on off-season shoes. Now, there's a $2 section at Philly 8 Thrift, and I always find winter boots in July for $2, and I find sandals, you know, my strappy sandals and all, in the middle of January there, because there's nothing wrong with them. They're just off season and they're not selling as well, so they stick them in the $2 section. So, and then next slide is Yeah, so these are some examples. There's the Ferragamos in the middle. That's a vintage pair of Ferragamos. They were in excellent condition. Donald J. Pliner. And then if you look at the last picture there, those softs, those outsoles are in pristine condition. You can see on the heels, there's no wear. That is something that you're looking for, is that kind of condition. So, and then the next slide.
So this would be the exact opposite of well worn.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that is true. So so now I said to, well, I will be saying, because the next thing is to avoid, one of the things is like the common brands, like Nine West is one of them that I don't usually pick up because it's very saturated. But these are vintage Nine West that I found, and that's an exception to the rule. And you can see made in Brazil, and the craftsmanship on these Nine West is so different than the modern Nine Wests. And then, you know, you can see that there's a cool pair of vintage shoes. I would definitely grab those if they were in good condition. Sam Edelman. And then on the bottom, these are the GH Bass shoes that I was talking about. This is a designer named Rachel Antonoff. I think that's her name. She did very loud prints and all, and this was the pair that I found that had that floral design, and they would sell for about $70 or so. So always look for the loud prints, the different, the unique. That's something else to look for. Okay, the next slide is what to avoid. Oh gosh, my spacing is okay. So low-end department store brands like Payless, and then the names that are for Payless are Fione, Montego Bay. Target has Morona and Exhilaration. Kohl's has Sonoma and Apartment 9. Don't buy those unless you're buying them for yourself. They're not going to flip well. And then do not pay excessive prices for oversaturated and what I call TJ Maxx or Marshalls or Ross brands. They've really saturated the market. You can get them new for less than what you would, you can get a pair of new ones for less than the resale price on the used ones. So Franco Sardo is one that's really saturated at those stores. Enzo Angeloni, Nine West, Coach is another one. I pass up Coach all the time, authentic Coach, like they're dime a dozen, because the thrift stores price them at like $20, and they're just not worth that for the resale value. So shoe club brands like Shoe Dazzle, that's one of the ones that you pay a monthly subscription.
Shoe Dazzle.
Yeah, and they make some really cute shoes, but they're not made well, and their resale value just isn't there. And bargain brands like Wild Diva and Michael Antonio are kind of like, they're made to look like high-end brands, but they're made very cheaply. Like I said, cheaply made. Plastic outsoles, that's always, if they're supposed to, instead of leather, they look like leather, they're the color of leather, but they're plastic. That is one big thing too. And those slip too, so you can break your neck in a pair of stilettos that have plastic outsoles. Extra narrow, like
you for sure.
Yes, so extra narrow, like AA or AAA, they're often found in the Ferragamos. So I would not necessarily pick up those. They will sell, but they're very slow sellers. And excessive wear, like especially to the outsoles or the toe area, you can see the heels up there. The new heels are rounded and flat, and then the worn heels kind of angle. And your foot is not getting the best walking experience on those. People aren't going to want that kind of wear on heels, especially stiletto heels. If you see that on the bottom, they have to be re-heeled. So. And then the next slide is, okay, so heel and outsole. I'm trying to find my, here they are, okay. So pitting and crumbling. Now there's a thing that I always talk about called the twist test. Here's a pair of Danskos that I have in my hand here. Now all you do when you're in the thrift store is you kind of bend them this way so that they give a little bit. And then you look at them, and if you see any crumbling anywhere, these are not doing it, so these are good. Then put them down and run, because the whole heel will crumble, just like that picture there. It's something that happens commonly when Danskos and a lot of other similar brands are not worn, and they just sit in storage, and it's a form of dry rot, and they just completely crumble. So look for that. Glue marks and glue lifting, especially on espadrille shoes where that kind of rope, they have that kind of rope back. you don't want any glue lifting. That's a common thing that happens with those. Age deterioration, heat damage, which you'll see on patent leather shoes. They kind of bubble. That's heat damage. Mold or mildew. And let's see, splitting or cracking on heels, and obvious fakes. And again, go to Nordstrom, get a feel for what quality feels like. If you have any, and the more common the brand, like Coach, it's not even really that high end of a brand. They're faked a lot, but like Gucci and Prada, a lot of the ones that you're going to see in your Goodwill case are going to be fakes, but not all of them. So if you're in doubt, feel the quality, ask in the thrifting board, and also avoid the cheap, trendy junior brands. Like there's stores like Forever 21, Charlotte Russe. They're very cheaply made. They don't have good resale value. So, and let's see. Okay, now here's another thing, what to avoid. Now these were really cute red boots, and these have age deterioration. They're actually crumbling, and the leather is actually crumbling and falling apart. You can see in the back there, those will completely crack and that whole shoe will fall apart. So avoid that. If you see just a little bit of that, avoid it. The next picture on the top right that's called piping, that trim. And a lot of times that's a common area of wear. So if you see peeling on the piping like that, don't buy those, because that will just crack and crumble on all the piping is going to be like that. The bottom left, those were authentic Pradas that I left behind at the store. Why would I leave behind authentic Pradas? Because the toe there, you can see, is so worn that it almost had a hole through it. And they might still sell for $40, but the person that buys that would buy them would have to get them repaired. And so they were $18, and for $40, it's just not worth it. So yes, I've left Pradas behind. And there's that brand Michael Antonio that looks high end, looks really nice, but is very, very, very cheaply made. And they don't sell. I mean, those would sell for maybe $18. And so, okay. So the next slide.
Kind of look like Ariel's boots from Footloose, the red ones.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Please tell me you've seen Footloose.
I've never seen Footloose, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
what?
No.
Oh.
No.
Who in this world has not seen Footloose?
Me.
Come on,
okay.
Now. Everybody caught Footloose.
No, I've never seen Footloose. So the top left picture, these were a pair of vintage boots, and they looked great on the outside, but the inside they were completely crumbling. It's a form of dry rot that happens with vintage shoes. If you see that, run away, because the whole shoe is going to fall apart. So the inside lining was completely crumbling, even though they were really cute. The right ones are actually Patagonias, and Patagonias are, as we know, a very sought out brand. Always buy Patagonias if they're in good condition. The outsoles are in great condition, everything about these. But if you look at the top right there, the piping around the edges was completely crumbling on those. I don't know what happened, but I left those behind. So, and then the next slide.
My brain hurts right now. There's a lot of people in the chat who have never seen Footloose. And Maggie, who lives in Philadelphia, has never seen a Rocky movie. What?
I've never seen a Rocky movie, and I live in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's it. Show is over.
I've just never had an interest. It's not.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. What's wrong with everybody?
All right. So here is measuring and sizing shoes. Now, always include measurements in listings. A 7.5 is not a 7.5 in every brand. If it's a vintage 7.5, it's going to run smaller than a modern day 7.5. They usually run narrower and smaller vintage sizes, and every single brand and style of shoes, sneakers, usually run larger than, say, ballet flats. So every style runs differently. So you need to include measurements, and here's what you do. I'll show you. I have a pair of shoes here that I'm going to just show you real quick. You need a tape measure that's a soft tape measure, not like a construction tape measure that's rigid and metal. And you're
so not like this. And yes, mine is pink.
Yeah. So no, that's not the proper way, because what you need to do is get in the bend of the shoe. You always measure the insoles, and you need to see how this shoe, if I just was going to straight across, I would miss this little dip. So you need to actually get into the arch and measure it like that. And then these are small, they're 7. So this is, yeah, 9.5 inches from toe to heel. And then you measure the instep, the ball of the foot on the instep. Average width of a size medium is about 3 inches here, but that varies too. So get in there and measure that. And then the back of the heel, that's usually about 2 inches. It is on this one, yes. And then also measure the heel from, these are called kitten heels, by the way, because they're smaller heels. So measure the heel from the bottom to the top, right where it meets the base of the shoe. So these are 2.5 inch heels. So always put all of those measurements. For boots, now, actually, I just want to run through. Medium width is either a B or an M. Narrow is A, AAA, 2A, and then wide comes in the letter C, D, E, double E, or W. So if you see those letters on shoes after your size, you know what those mean. And then the next slide is, yeah, so measure the outsole. If you can't, like on a pair of boots that's really deep that you can't get in there to measure, measure the outsoles then. But you need to mention that you measured the outsoles because you have to give some what they'll have to do is measure. Usually what I suggest is that someone measures, that they contact me and they say, you know, if I can only get the outsole measurements, I'll say, well, measure against another pair of outsoles of shoes that fit you well. So usually that'll give them a good gauge. So you can still give them a gauge on sizing if you can't get into the insoles to measure. Measure the calf circumference on the boots. That's around, some women have larger calves, some have smaller, so that's a very important measurement. Measure the height from the top of the boot all the way to the bottom. That's your height of the boot. So if no sizing is available, then there are charts that you can easily find, like the measurements in inches, and convert the size that way. And also some of them have European sizing, and if you need to convert European sizing to US sizing, there's I just wanted Jason to click on that Zappos shoe conversion chart there.
Oh, I forgot to open that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great one. Zappos.com. If you go there, that's a great website. They have some really great charts there. So that's a great resource to use if you have a pair of shoes that's in foreign sizing or they don't have sizes in them at all. And also, if you're not sure about a size, take another pair of shoes that you suspect is the same size and measure against that. So are you opening that link? Okay, so there we go. So yeah, so you can see that they have, I mean, they've men's, kids, women's, and then, but in the women's, they have all the US sizes, the UK sizes, the Euro sizes, inches, so you can measure, and those inches are going to be the insole from toe to heel. So you can pretty much look up your sizing that way. If you have a pair of shoes that is 9.5 inches long, you know that it's about a size 8. And they also have the centimeters there. So that's a great way to find out your size of your shoe if you don't have a size in it. So sometimes the sizing is rubbed off and you can't tell. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so my tips are use all 12 photos. You want to take photos of the fronts, the backs, the sides, the outsoles, the inside soles, the style and the size information on the inside, the bottoms of the heels, because that's really important, especially in stilettos and all. It's a really important part that wears very easily. A close-up, a good close-ups of any of the flaws. You don't want to hide those flaws. You want to put them right out in the open. Use the condition box to state any of your flaws. And in your keywords, brand, size, width, color, shoe style, material, country, if there's room, if it's Italy or Spain, if it's China. Include all of the measurements in your listings, fill out all of the item specifics. Those item specifics are searchable as well, and they're very important. Don't leave them blank. And see sold and sort highest for pricing and price competitively, but don't underprice your shoes either. You can really, I see a lot of people doing that with used shoes. They think they're used, they're just not going to sell as well. You know, ask for those higher prices, you'll get them. And research thoroughly. Again, if you're stumped, you can always ask for help in the thrifting board. And then I have a couple examples of some listings there. There's a pair of Betsy Johnson shoes that I have listed. You can see I have both shoes shown there. You know, I have a picture of the sides. I have a picture from the top. A picture, Jason, can you click on the different views on the pictures? Yeah, so I have a picture of the top, a picture of close-up of the label. And then go to the bottoms there, the picture of the bottoms. Yeah, so you can see there that those are leather outsoles, and that's normal for leather outsoles to wear that way. The first time that they wore them, they probably, you know, started to get that kind of scuff wear. So, but I took a picture of the flaws, you know. So make sure that you have all angles, everything in there. And I put there's another pair that I have there, and I have Germany in there. I have the brand, I have the size, I have the color, I have, you know, everything open-toed. They're also called they're also called peep toe shoes. I probably should have that in there actually now that I'm looking at that. But these will probably sell for about $50, and they're not even a well-known brand, but again, Germany, they're quality. So yeah, so definitely have good pictures, have all angles, and use all of those practices for your listing. And the next one is how to properly store shoes. So store them in a cool, dry, climate-controlled place. Do not store them in you know, an attic, a hot attic, or a basement that's damp. Usually I put mine in Rubbermaid containers, and if you have the original box, leave them in the box. Keep them stuffed with tissue paper to hold shape. Now mine I do put in a bin together, but I'll stuff them all, and as soon as I get them cleaned off and I bring them home and I have them, I'll stuff them with tissue paper that holds the shape of them so that they don't get crushed. And pool noodles work great. We talked about pool noodles for shipping. They work great to hold boot shapes. You can get them at the dollar store. You can cut them down, and you can see there how you can easily just put them in your boots and they'll hold the boot shapes. Don't ever bend leather boots to store them. That will permanently crease them and damage them. And don't store moldy or mildewy shoes with other shoes, because that odor and the mold and mildew will spread, and so don't do that. And then tips for shipping properly. It's okay to ship in a priority flat rate padded envelope. If you have ballet flats, flip-flops, kitten heels, which are, you know, just the short heels, I wrap each in bubble wrap separately, and I very carefully just put them in the padded flat rate, and they go. Now, I don't ship high heels or anything that's more, you know, more delicate in the padded flat rates. It's just not worth the risk. So in a box, I will always put pumps, stiletto type heels, boots, expensive leather, anything like that. And I always ship them stuffed with tissue to hold their shape, pool noodles in boots, and I wrap in bags, in plastic bags or tissue paper, just to kind of cushion them a little bit and avoid them from rubbing against each other. And then stuff the box with peanuts. Tissue paper works okay too, but I usually use peanuts to avoid compression or scratching or, you know, rubbing against each other. And always wrap your heels, especially your really thin stiletto heels, in bubble, because they can break in shipping. So, and then the next slide is my favorite box is the priority shoe box, because just because of the shape, it's made for shoes. It's great. Most women's shoes go at the 2-pound rate. So the regional A goes at the 2-pound rate all the time. And so, and some of the larger sizes won't fit in that box, but some of the smaller sizes fit great in that. So I would definitely use that. And then heavier shoes such as Doc Martens can go, that sometimes they're 3 or 4 pounds. They can go FedEx Smart Post if you're shipping to a far US zone. And if you have the original shoe box, sometimes you will, it's perfectly acceptable unless they're really high end or something like that. I have just wrapped the whole shoe box. I I'm careful, you know, I wrap them inside of the shoebox and everything. And then I wrap the whole shoebox in bubble, and I have very large poly bags, and I'll just put it in a poly bag and mail it that way. And never try to cram shoes in a box that is too small, because obviously you can damage them. And okay, so this is my cleaning shoes. This is my tool care. This is my little tool kit. Now, nail files will buff out suede and price tags. Sometimes on leather outsoles, it's really hard to get that price, that the marker prices off. So you can actually gently buff it off with a nail file. The same thing with suede. You can use a bristle brush on it first, and then just gently buff it out with a nail file, and it does get the stains out. You don't want to go too hard because you will damage it. But Clorox wipes, I always keep them around. I clean the insoles and the outsoles with them. They're great to have. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, very, 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 very important. That they clean rubber, they clean price tags off. Not so much for leather, but for rubber areas and things like that, they're great. Windex cleans patent leather very well, and synthetic surfaces like vinyl. Vaseline will rub out scratches on patent leather and vinyl. Vinegar won't leave water stains on suede and leather, and it's also good for cleaning shoes that have leather shoes. Vinegar, baking soda is an odor neutralizer. So if you have any issues with mold or mildew or anything, like kind of just odors, that's great. And it also cleans rubbers and outsoles great. Kind of the same thing as magic erasers. I think that's what they're made of. I think they're basically bricks of baking soda. So Woolite or similar mild laundry detergent is great for spot cleaning. A dish sponge with a scrubbing side is another great tool for spot cleaning. Do not use paper towels. They'll rub off on it. I use a sponge or a rag. And Dawn or similar mild dish detergent is something that is great for spot cleaning. Scrub brushes, as I mentioned. Brillo pads with gentle pressure. You can even remove, you can get leather outsole price tags off and whatnot, but don't scrub too hard because you can damage. And hair conditioner conditions and waterproofs leather. And toothbrush is another great thing. You know, it's a smaller brush to get in those kind of harder to reach areas. And hydrogen peroxide cleans canvas and removes stains. Always test it first, though I wouldn't do that on leather, for example. And then a little side note there is Dawn dish soap, hydrogen peroxide, and baking soda is a great cleaning solution that you can scrub with a toothbrush, mostly for canvas, or on the bottoms of outsoles. That's a great cleaning solution. And the next slide is, there's some pictures of a pair of, those are Banana Republic suede shoes that I buffed with a nail file. You can see on the left, it had that really dark stain, and then I got the stain off with the nail file. Bottom, same thing. I got the marker price off with thrift store price off with a nail file on the leather outsoles. And these are my Badgley Mishkas that I cleaned with some soapy water, with some Dawn dish soap. They were satin, so soapy water, Dawn dish soap, and I just rubbed them very gently, and they came out beautiful. So, and then the next slide is, I know we're running over, so I'm going a little fast here. So some shoes can be washed in your washing machine safely. So don't machine wash suede, leather, silk for dress shoes, boots, strappy heels. Obviously, you know, anything that you question, don't put it in the washing machine. But canvas shoes like Tom's shoes, some tennis shoes and sneakers like Converse, always Converse, can be washed safely. Those Toms, actually, I put in the washing machine, and before, these Toms were a whole darker shade of gray, and even this part was really gunky and dirty, and they came out beautiful. So the next slide shows you how to do that in the washing machine. So what you're going to do is, wow, my presentation got messed up. So scrub off all the loose dirt and remove your laces. Place your shoes and laces in a mesh laundry bag, like a Tide wash bag there. I have a couple of those here. And then add your regular liquid detergent, add shoes with some towels. Put a few towels in, like bath towels, and that cushions the load so that they don't you know, get hit against the edge of the washer so much. And then only use cold water because excessive heat can damage the glue. And then don't put them in the dryer. Lay them out in the sun. And if you don't have sun where you live, then just, yeah, I mean, like here, you know, if you have a stretch of rainy days, so you can also dry them inside, just have a fan blowing on them. And let's see, my next slide is questions. Okay, so do you want me to show any of my samples here, or just go right to the questions? Well, I guess
first I'm going to get the questions compiled. Can you ask the person upstairs to turn the TV down, please?
Sure.
All right, so Debbie's been compiling the questions for me, and we got great questions. But before we get to that, I'm going to give you guys homework. So I remember, I think it was my first presentation I gave you homework before, but now I'm giving you homework after. Now, those of you who've watched live, I see you guys are all excited. I'm excited. I got to go find some shoes. Nate's killing it on selling shoes. Other people are killing it. But they're selling shoes for good money with crappy pictures. So from what you guys know, what you've learned from me and the others in the thrifting board, you should do better with your pictures. So here's your homework. Let's meet back here 2 weeks from today. And the weekend before, what I want you to do is I want you all to go out and find some shoes. Obviously, that's the whole point of this, is to find better stuff, more stuff, learn new stuff, make more money. Go out and find some shoes, get them listed, send me the listings, but don't do it till the weekend before. And I'll make a post for this. And then I'm not going to have Nay see them ahead of time. So it's kind of be like grading on the fly on finding them and how do your listings look. So there will be some critiquing, but not bad, just to teach you to make sure it's better, and or if you've already nailed it, well done. So let's have everyone, and obviously including those of you who are watching after the fact, go out, find some women's shoes. If you have bought and sold women's shoes before, try and find something outside of your comfort zone. Don't just show us something you're already doing. Find one of those brands that Nate just introduced you to that you have never sold before, or a couple, and send me the link. So don't do it right now, because me being gone for a week, I will lose it and miss it. But when I get back, I will put the post up in the Secret Beach to then send me the links. But don't post them in the Secret Beach, because we want Nate to see them fresh eyes, no predetermination. All right, so that is your homework. Basically, your homework is me telling you to go find stuff to make money. Okay?
Okay.
So, all right, so let's get to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have on my lap here a bunch of shoes that I can just really quick run through. Do you want me to?
Yeah, show us your 5 best pair. Then we're gonna do the questions.
Okay, so here's an example of. I didn't talk much about sneakers, but I do love sneakers, and then I find like these are really cool. These are loud print. They're Adidas.
Wow,
yeah,
they're cool.
Yeah. So if you find anything like this, that are really cool, these are great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about high-end shoes. So I will show you a pair of. I'll show you my Fendis here. These are genuine Fendi. You can see the Fendi on the front there. You can see Fendi on the inside. You can see Fendi and the Vero Quio on the bottom that's embossed, and the leather outsoles. And they also have these tacks in the heel. That's another example of that's another way to tell high end. Now, if you could feel this leather is like butter. It is so soft and nice. So these are definitely authentic Fendis, and I paid $5 for them. And also, here's a sample of Emilio Pucci. Like I said, they have those crazy colors. I paid $5 for these. I was with Jason when I bought these. You can see Emilio Pucci on the bottom there. And these, there's a broken chain on one of them. The consignment shop that I bought them from was originally selling them for $60, but because of the chain, they sold them for $5. And I will probably put them up for $89. And here's Bruno Magli for Saks Fifth Avenue. These are vintage. You can see on the inside there.
Yeah, you hold them the other way so we can read them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Okay. So that's a cool vintage pair. And then these are called Poetic License. They sell very well. It's an English brand.
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, it's an English brand, and license is spelled Licence, which is the English way. And these are always kind of funky, and they're just fun shoes. So if you find, that's what I'm talking about with the funky. I'm just going to go through a couple more here, Jason, and then I'm done. So St. John, I talk about St. John clothing. Here's St. John shoes. They are very well made.
Again, show us so we can read it. You keep throwing them up upside down.
Okay, so these are St. John. You can see the St. John logo there, and then on the bottom again, they're embossed, and they have the leather outsoles. You can really feel the quality on these. So I have some authentic Burberrys here. You can see the right here. These are Burberrys too. And then on the bottom again, they have the leather outsoles. They're stamped. I paid $5 for both of these. They were crazy prices. So there you go. So and sometimes too, you'll see something that looks, you know, made in Italy like this. These are called Laura Blue, and I wasn't even familiar with this brand, but they sell like, some of these sell in the hundreds. So always, you know, keep your eye on the interesting, the high quality, and you know, that kind of catches your eye. Always grab those. Okay.
All right. So our first question was really not a question. It's more of a said when you're talking about creeper styles. He says creeper is what I feel like when I shop the women's shoes.
Yeah.
Well, Dean, you've obviously never done the bra section because shoes really ain't that big of a deal.
No, gosh, no.
Trust me when I tell you, I have never had one person look twice at me in women's shoes. Now, bras and lingerie, different story. And the key to that from being a man is always shop on the right side of the rack, not reaching through from the backside like I accidentally did once. And then, yeah, that was creepy. Will we post the slides in the Secret Beach files? I hadn't thought about it. I'll have to think about it. Obviously, you can watch the video anytime you want. I will definitely post the slide of the links to. I will just with my brain trust. That would be Nadene and my wife and other people.
You cut out there, so I didn't know what you said.
The whole thing?
No, I heard, and my wife and Nadene and other people. So I didn't hear what was.
So I'll discuss it with my brain trust.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I already have thoughts on that. So
I think we addressed this, Nate, but just if we didn't, C. Reed Right Retro said, "How do you clean labels off of leather insoles?"
Insoles?
I can clean everything else, but I'm afraid to pull this big label off for fear of making it worse.
Yeah, I mean, if you always try to peel it first, because sometimes it won't be set in. It'll be, you know, more recent label. But if it's not coming off easily, take a little bit of, take a sponge, just like the scrubby side of the sponge, and take some mild dish detergent and just rub it gently, and eventually it'll work its way off.
And then Diana says, how do you clean toe marks and other dirt? I think she asked that way early, so I'm pretty sure.
I think we covered
if you're still watching, I think we pretty much covered all that with all May's great cleaning tips. One thing that you did not address that Brenda mentioned is heel style.
Okay, well.
So you had that cool picture.
Yeah, so I can run through real quick. So this is a kitten heel here. See the tiny heel? That's called a kitten heel. This is a platform heel. You can see, or a wedge heel. Stiletto heel would be, these are stiletto heels. See the really crazy heel there. It's like it's usually like 3 or 4 inches, and they're very thin. That's a stiletto heel. This is a block or Cuban heel on these. Let's see, I know I've got, this is the type of heel. This is also a block heel, but it's obviously a different type of block heel. These are not flats. These are heels. So, but
I'm assuming we can find a graphic like the one you had of.
That's what I was going to say. So those are just a few styles, but go to Pinterest and search heel styles, shoe styles, women's shoes, and you'll come up with visual dictionaries, and you can easily find the different types of heels.
This is just a little funny comment. Kara Cooper said, when we show the 30 Bolo brands to be on the lookout, she's guessing number 31 would be well-worn shoes.
I have not ventured into that category, but I do hear that it's very lucrative. So,
Kara wants to know, is DH bass different than just bass?
GH, no, they're the same company. It's the formal name of the company is GH Bass. A lot of them just say Bass on them. Same company.
And Brenda said, so this brand is rubber. I assumed she meant that one brand that was all rubber.
Vivienne Westwood. Not all of Vivienne Westwood's shoes are, but a lot of them are. Yes.
Do you want to add our Bolo brands not listed here to the thread in the group or blurt them out? Yeah, if you've got some Bolo brands that you want to add to Nate's list, I mean, of course, there's more than 30, but as you can see, we're already at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, feel free to do that on the post here in the Secret Beach. If you've got some brands that you've had great success with, please feel free to add the name. And if you have recently sold them, feel free to add the link. That way everyone can learn. I love that. Yeah,
I could have easily gotten into hundreds of brands. It was really hard to narrow it down to 30. That was,
Kara Cooper said, would Bear Traps be another good comfort brand?
Nah, they're okay. They're okay. I mean, I have a pair of Bear Traps that have been sitting in my store forever, and they're not as quick sellers, but they'll sell. I mean, they're more in like the $38-ish range, but they're okay.
So you showed a picture of this next question, but I don't know what you said. Do you buy or pass on shoes that are worn down unevenly on the heel?
Exactly. Yes, I do, and that's one of the pictures that I showed there. Yes.
Mm-hmm. You do what? Buy or pass?
I pass. I'll pass them if they're products. I don't care. Yeah.
Would you pick up a common brand? This is from Tony. Would you pick up a common brand if it was a very large size or really, really small, like an unusual size?
Yeah, I mean, I have.
So a woman's 22. Would you pick that up in a Payless?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
such a thing. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, these are softs. These are size 12s. They're really large, and but this is a brand. But I always pick up. Yeah, I'll pick up the larger if they're in a lesser brand. Yeah, I will. Not in a smaller size though, because a smaller size is it. There's not a lot of 5.5 size women.
Can read through this, but for those of you who are watching the chat who don't know these terms, I'll read it as written, then I'll explain it. Kara says, "I'm big heel size." Or sissy or TV to the title as keywords, and that would be cross-dresser, transvestite, or sissy.
I do not do that. The people that are looking for those shoes find them, so I don't do that. But
do others do that?
Do.
So what Kara's saying is you're gearing towards the middle market men my size that would be looking for bigger shoes to fit them.
Absolutely. So but they also do searches without those words. They just search for those shoes. So yeah.
What is best for cleaning suede? I think you answered that with the vinegar, right?
Vinegar does not leave watermarks. Nail file first, vinegar second.
Bobby wants to know, do you sell any men's shoes?
I absolutely do. I don't sell as many men's shoes. I don't enjoy men's shoes as much, but I absolutely do sell some men's shoes. Yes, more women's shoes than anything.
Where are we? Brenda, how do you remove permanent marker?
Permanent marker is a little trickier, especially if it's on leather. But again, the best thing is nail file, even a little sandpaper, to just kind of like buff it off. That's really the best way. You can also try, some of the other things I mentioned, baking soda, magic eraser. Nail polish remover is a little tricky because it does stain often, and it's very acidic, so it tends to eat away. So if you don't get it off right away, I kind of, that's one of the things that a lot of people say, and I'm kind of iffy about that, but all of those things work. And if you can't get it off and it's got a price on it, take a Sharpie and just go over it just cross it out.
And then Dean has a question that I can answer a little bit too. Are some of the more expensive brands worth buying and having repaired?
Yes.
Have you ever done that?
No, and it depends on, I mean, I've done it more with clothing. It depends on what the repair is, what's wrong with it. Now, if it's a heel that needs to be repaired easily, yeah, I would do that. If it's, you know, like if I have a pair of high-end shoes that are going to sell for 300 and there's a broken heel on them, I'll go get it fixed. But those Pradas that were worn through almost to the, you know, to the tip of the toes, not worth it. I mean, just the repairs, it's just not worth it. So it depends on what what it is.
I used to have a TV show, for those of you who don't know, and at the bins in the Goodwill bins in Boston, he picked up a brand of shoes, and I don't recall right this second. I don't recall the brand off the top of my head, but they were pretty much destroyed. And they were some Swedish or Swiss brand. I never heard of them. And so he sent them off to have them repaired. And I think the repair was like $100 plus we were at the bins. So the shoes cost like, I don't know, $1, $2. And he spent $100 on the repair, and then he sold them for $400 or something in that realm. So yeah, I would not pay to have, you know, one of the brands that probably Nate showed today. Most of those brands are like, you know, in the $30 to $100 range for used. But if you can sell used for $400 and it costs $100 to repair, then yeah, I would.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like if I had a pair of Fry boots that had issues, I would definitely get those repaired, like, you know, something like that. Yeah. Yeah,
there we go. All right. Whew, that was a lot of info. I see people have the same reaction, 2 reactions that I have too. Oh, I can't wait to go thrifting. And wow, was that a lot of info? My brain hurts. Yes, well, absolutely.
And that's all in my brain. So yes.
Whew, that was awesome. All right.
Thank you.
That was a great Typhoon. Another excellent job, Nadene. Well done. And all right, so don't forget your homework. Let's see. Let's meet back here 2 weeks from today. Let me tell you the date, but I will post in the group so you don't have to, you know, memory. Yeah. So on May 9th, we will pop in here, and will not be anything formal.
We might need to do the 10th or the 8th. Actually, I'll talk to you about that.
Okay. So somewhere in the 8th, 9th, and 10th of May, the date will be officially announced. But we will pop back in here and we will check your homework. So go find some shoes. And if, like I said, if you sell shoes already, go find something that Nate introduced you to today. So it's no fun to, you know, if we said let's go find new ceramics and I show up with a tiki mug, that would be bullshit, because of course I know tiki mugs. Find something that's new to you, and that's the way we have a couple weeks. Get them listed, and let's check out your listings. That way we'll make everyone a better thrifter, to make more money and to excel at women's shoes. And Dean, get in the shoe section, get in the bra section. If I can do it, look how I look. Look at this. 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 I got a shrunken head on my arm. I'm in the bra section. All right. So
yeah, don't worry about what other people think. I don't care.
Yes, that too. But if I can do it, no one else watching this looks as extreme as I do. And if I can do it, you can do it too. So please get out there and do it. Afraid. And if someone gives you a hard time, because I've had that hard time, I'll save that story for an after hours, because it's pretty brutal. But I dealt with it, and I didn't let some other schmuck's thought of what I was doing cloud me. Okay, I kept on chopping. Now, funny, people say we need a bra show. Nate and I talked right before the top of the show. Here's the bra show. Find big sizes, the prettier the better. Done.
Pretty much.
But I think we can. I think we can expand on that into robes, pajamas, bras, obviously,
and vintage lingerie, especially vintage lingerie. Yeah. Has a big following. Yeah.
But yeah, so that will be coming up. All right. So thank you, Nadene, for a wonderful, wonderful class. Thank you, everybody who watched. And we will see you guys all next month in May. I am off to Atlanta. If you watch this and you're in the Atlanta area and you want to take the Saturday class and or hang out at any of the Tiki Hangouts, I got 3 of them set up. let me know. I would love to see everybody, and I'll be in Atlanta for a week. So if you ask me a question in the Secret Beach, I will try and get to it. But if I don't get to it right away, I got a crazy schedule in Atlanta. So Nadene, thank you very much, and have a good day, everybody. Go find some women's shoes.
Thank you, everybody.